Hello guys, welcome back. Now this video is gonna be a little bit different. Obviously, I'm in a different setup right here. But today I'm gonna be looking over my gaming collection, and while it's not that big, it's work in progress. Now I don't have anything past the GameCube era, so just keep that in mind. Now for game systems, I have my Wii and my DS. I have my Wii U and SNES Classic, and I got my Switch and my PlayStation 4. Now, I don't have currently my Wii or my DS with me. The DS, I think the hinges broke, and for the Wii, I think there was a thunderstorm going on. This was a couple of years ago, and I think lightning hit our house, and of course the Wii was connected to the outlet then. So once the lightning hit the house, it just basically zapped almost everything from the house that was in that outlet. So we had to get replacements for a lot of things, but for the Wii, we really didn't. We didn't really bother with that. So both of them are gone, sadly. Now, I'm going to look at every single game that I have. I'm not going to go in depth with every single one, but I'm going to talk about every single one. And first, the only GameCube game that I really have is Mario Kart Double Dash. It's a fantastic game. Probably my favorite in the Mario Kart series, even though I didn't really grow up with it. So, it is what it is. That's my only GameCube game, though. Next, we have Wii Sports in this little envelope, which we lost the case, so yeah, we're going to have to deal with that. We got Mario Super Strikers, the baseball game for the Wii. I mean, it's not great, but it's decent. We got Twilight Princess for the Wii. It's not the GameCube version, so it's less valuable for resale, but that doesn't really matter. It's a great game. Of course, it's another Zelda game. I do love it very much. Next, we got Mario Party 8. I haven't played much Mario Party besides this game. This game, though, I was basically addicted to. This is just a fantastic game. It was just so fun to play, and I don't even know why I sunk that much time into it. I don't think I got to like 1,000 hours or anything, but spent a lot of time with it. Next up, we have Batman, the video game, which was basically my childhood, man. This was a pretty good game, a pretty good Lego game. It was one of the first ones, and it was really good. It was really innovative for the time, and I do like it a lot, and it had some great gameplay to it. I have this case for it. I don't have the original case, but it's Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Again, another game I basically grew up with. A fantastic game. It's probably the worst in the Smash Bros. Series, but I still do love it. A lot of things about it were flawed, like the online, of course, and the slippery mechanic, but a lot of things they did really well, and I really do give it praise for it. Next up, I have Mario Kart Wii. This is an interesting one. I was basically more addicted to this than Mario Party 8 even. I played, I want to say more than even 1,000 hours on Mario Kart Wii. It was ridiculous. Just the online mechanic. I sunk I'd say a couple hundred hours into that just alone. And of course the Grand Prix were just, track selection was fantastic. The only really main gripe I can go to this Mario Kart Wii is that it's not very good with the music. It's probably one of my least favorite in the franchise. It's just not very great, but it's still decent. It's just not very great. But that's really the only gripe I have with Mario Kart Wii. Everything else about it, though, is very good. Now, next up, another game that I don't really have the case for. It's New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I mean, it's another New Super Mario Bros. Game, so nothing to really write home there. And the last game that I'm going to show you guys, I don't have the original case for the first one, but I have Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 on here. Okay, let me just start off saying this. Super Mario Galaxy 1. Super Mario Galaxy 1 is my favorite game of all time. Not just because of the nostalgia reasons, though it is a big factor. Just the gameplay, the level design, it's just all brilliant, and I just love it to pieces. Mario Galaxy 2 is a fantastic game, too. For me, it doesn't do the same thing as Mario Galaxy 1, but those two games are fantastic, and if you have a Wii, I don't know why you wouldn't have that if you didn't have it, but it's my favorite game of all time, and of course I cherish it dearly to my heart, since it is basically my childhood, and probably the best game that I played when I was a young kid, and that's probably my favorite part of it. Alright, so now starting off my DS collection, we're going to go first with Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2010. Now, this is a weird game because it isn't all that good. I gotta be honest here. It isn't bad, but it isn't that great, but it could be a lot worse. The story mode in the game was actually pretty fun. I remember it being pretty cool, and I actually do like it, but there were some great qualities to this game. It was actually pretty fun, a lot of the mini games, and it was actually a pretty decent game. Compared to other Mario Olympic games, it's pretty good, so I probably have one of the better ones in the series. But now we start off with Pokemon games. Pokemon Heartgold. This and Super Mario Galaxy basically define my childhood as video games like that. These two games were just monumental for my experience as a kid. Like Pokemon Heartgold is probably, it's a fantastic game. It's one of the best in the series, because that's just all the content in it, all that, 2 regions. You've heard it all before, but just that my experiences with it have been going a long way, and I played it for hours and hours on end. It really had the best replay value in the whole series, and it was just a fantastic game. And it's pretty much one of my core pieces of my childhood. It's pretty insane. Next up, we have Pokemon Platinum. I'm just going to go rapid fire for the Pokemon games. Platinum, fantastic. It had a lot of flaws, though. It wasn't I would say that Platinum was a lot better than Diamond and Pearl, but Sinnoh as itself still had some flaws in it. It wasn't the best paced and all that, but Platinum is still a very good game, and probably the best with Gen 4. Next we have Pokemon White. Now, next is going to be Pokemon Black 2, so I'm just going to put these both together. So we have Pokemon White and Pokemon Black 2. Basically, almost the same game. Of course, Black 2 is a sequel to Pokemon White, so they're basically the same thing, but Gen 5 is probably my favorite Pokemon Gen. Just all around, fantastic music, fantastic gameplay, and basically everything you can want from a Pokemon game. I'd say that Pokemon Black and White 2 is probably the best Pokemon game in the series. That's just my opinion, though. Alright, next up we got Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs. So this is a weird one because I really do like it, but I hear a lot of critics about it. But the story was, looking back on it, a little bit bland, but I still liked it. There's a big plot twist at the end, which I really did love. And of course, this is another key piece of my childhood. I really did love this game. And the gameplay was fun. Of course, when you have a DS that actually works and a stylus, it is the best experience. But it is a pretty good game, and I like the pacing, and just everything about it I do like a lot. Now next we have Super Mario 64 DS. Now I did lose the cartridge to this very early when I got it. I think I got it like 5 or 6 years ago, and I lost it lost the cartridge like a year later. So I don't really have that many memories with it. Sadly, it is a pretty decent game though. But next up we have New Super Mario Bros. 1. So it's the original New Super Mario Bros. Probably the best one in the series. I lost the cartridge to this also, but not as quite as early. So I had played it for a lot of years, but it's a good game. I felt like the level design was the best in the New Super Mario Bros. Franchise. It's basically celebrated as the best New Super Mario Bros. Game, so you can take it as you will. And then the final one on the DS, of my DS collection, I have Mario Kart DS. Fantastic game. Mario Kart on the DS is one of the better ones in the series. Just the overall gameplay was fantastic. Of course, you got the battle mode, which is, or the challenge mode, whatever it was called. Basically one of the best celebrated modes in Mario Kart. Fantastic game. And of course the course selection was one of the best in the series, I felt. And of course they brought back, I think they introduced retro mode. I think Super Circuit did have that, but now they have retro mode in Mario Kart DS, which actually takes the good Mario Kart tracks back to DS, and that's really an innovation for the series that I really did enjoy. Now for my 3DS collection, I have to go a little more rapid fire with this because there is a lot to cover. So first, you have Metroid: Samus Returns, one of the best comebacks in Metroid. Fantastic game though. Next, Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. This game disappointed me. It wasn't that great, and I didn't get very far in it because there was one boss that I just could not beat, and I really didn't beat the game, so I really didn't have that many opinions on it. Then we start with Pokemon games. Pokemon X, a great game. I'd say it's one of the lower games in the series, but still a fantastic game. The story wasn't that great, but the region itself was one of the better ones I felt, and it was really good one for Pokemon standards. For Mario Kart 7 is the next one. One of my favorite ones in the series, actually. It was very solid, very polished, and for the 3DS, felt like that was the best you can get out of it. Very early in its lifespan, it came out, and I felt like they couldn't really do much better with it. The online was decent enough for its time, and Mario Kart 7 was just very solid all around. Its course selection was great also. And then probably the worst one out of my 3DS collection, I have Mario Tennis Open. A bad game. Don't buy it. It's mediocre. It's bleh. Next, I have The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. Fantastic game. I highly recommend it. Fantastic Zelda game. Next, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. Now, I didn't beat this one because it takes a lot of time. It's a very deep RPG. I couldn't really call it RPG, kind of like a dungeon crawler, whatever you call it. But it's a pretty good game. I'd say it was worse than Gates to Infinity, but it was still a decent game there. Next, I have Mario Party Island Tour. Don't buy it. just a little bit of advice. Next, Animal Crossing Newly, fantastic Animal Crossing game, probably the best in the series, probably undoubtedly. It brought a lot of new innovations that I really did enjoy, like the fish, like the swimming and the island. That was a fantastic innovation, and they really did a lot with it. Next, The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. Now, Majora's Mask is probably in the top 5 favorite games of all time. Majora's Mask is weird because it's just fantastic for me. The story was the best of the series, in my opinion. The side quests that you do really did motivate you throughout the game. The gameplay is solid as always, and of course the dungeons and the bosses were really fantastic. And I felt like it was one of the better ones in the series, and probably one of my favorites. Next up, Tomodachi Life. I have no idea how to explain it, so I'm just not going to even attempt it. New Super Mario Bros. 2. Same with like the Mario Party game and the Mario Tennis one. Don't buy it. It's pretty mediocre. It's probably the worst in the Super Mario franchise, and that's saying something. Next, Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. Now, a lot of people say this is the best 3DS game, and I can't really argue with it. I think it had a 60 FPS, something like that, and on the 3DS, that's pretty impressive. This game is probably the best looking 3DS game. I don't think that you can really deny it. I think that they got the best out of the 3DS. Even the old 3DS really did get the best out of this, and for Smash Brothers, it really did work, and it was best that the 3DS could really output there. Alright, so next up, we have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Gates to Infinity. There was lots of problems with the game, and it was still pretty decent. I don't think that the hate was deserved. I think that there was lots of hate that was kind of negative that really didn't deserve to be there, but I still did enjoy the game very, very well. Next, Pokemon Moon. Now, this is the other game that could be debatable. Is this the best looking 3DS game? You could say that. I couldn't even agree with you, but Moon is a fantastic game. There's lots of small problems that I would tweak, but overall, fantastic Pokemon game. Next, Zelda Triforce Heroes. Now, it is a multiplayer game, and if you don't have any friends, well, that's a problem. I played with a couple of my friends, and we didn't really enjoy it because it just didn't have a lot to offer. It didn't have that much substance to it, and it didn't really do too much for us, but it was still a decent game, though. Next, Kirby Triple Deluxe. This was my first Kirby game, and it did very well. It impressed me very much so. It was a fantastic game. The level design was great, and the bosses were actually surprisingly very, very good. And of course, the music was great, as always. And next up, we have Lego Undercover: The Chase Begins. Now, this is the worst version of the Wii U version. And I didn't even realize there was a Wii U version at the time. I think I got this alongside Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and this game is pretty fun. It's a fun game. I do recommend it, but it's on the PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. I do recommend it, but I'd wait for a price drop, to be honest. But it's still a pretty good game, and it's still pretty fun. Next up, we have Fire Emblem Fates. Now, this was my first Fire Emblem game, and I kind of wish that I started with Awakening, because this game, it's weird because it just didn't do much for me. I didn't get too far into it, and one day I decided, hey, I'm gonna boot up Fire Emblem Fates once again, and I come back and my save data is gone for some reason. I didn't even do that, so I had to start over, and of course, starting all over, it just didn't do it for me. And it's not the game's fault per se, but it was just a weird instance, and I couldn't get into it really. Now, last game, Pokemon Omega Ruby. For Gen 3 standards, it's fantastic. I'd say I still prefer the original. I mean, the original is as solid as you can really get for Pokemon, but this game is fantastic. Of course, the remake of Gen 3, it's still a fantastic remake, and I do recommend it, of course. Fantastic soundtrack, fantastic everything. It really did do a lot of things right. I still do prefer the original, but that is just my opinion, of course. Alright, starting with the underrated Wii U collection. We're going to start with Nintendo Land, just because it was a launch game for the Wii U. It's whatever. It's a tech demo. It's a decent one, but it's entertaining, but it's still not that great. Next up, though, we have Mario Kart 8. This is one of my favorites in the series. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. The soundtrack is the best of the series. It's just a fantastic game. It's probably one of my favorites of the Wii U, if not my favorite, though. Next, we have Zelda, Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess HD, basically the same thing as Twilight Princess on the Wii, though it's still a great game, still holds up, and of course the remake did improve a lot of things. Next, we have Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, beautiful game. Of course, it still holds up today, even after even on the GameCube, it still holds up today. But a remake is definitely, we're not complaining really. It's a fantastic game. Of course, the gameplay is great, and of course, you got the ocean, you got all that in the exploration. But after playing Breath of the Wild, it's kind of overshadowed. This is the map. but it's still fantastic. It has lots of content, and it's very, very good. Next, we have Hyrule Warriors. Fantastic game. Just the mechanic of just beating guys to death, just thousands of guys just swarmed over you, but you can kill them. It's just eye candy, really. If you're having a bad day, just boot Hyrule Warriors up and then just kill thousands of guys. It's pretty entertaining, and it's a pretty fun game to just go through and complete. It was a great game. Next, we have Super Mario World. Or Super Mario 3D World. Fantastic game. One of the best soundtracks I've really ever heard of. Fantastic soundtrack. And it still looks great. It has a lot of problems, though. It isn't a true 3D Mario game, though. And it's kind of like a 3D/2D game. It isn't really it really isn't 2D. It really isn't 3D. But it's still a good game. It still has good level design. It's still a pretty decent game there. Next, we have Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Now, this is an interesting game. I didn't like it, didn't love it, but it was a pretty interesting mechanic. Of course, the art style is very, very unique as well. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is next, and this one's a big surprise because I really do love this one. I really do love this one. It's fantastic. It keeps your mind just going. It's a good puzzle game, and I really do like just the puzzle aspect of it, that they brought this mechanic from Super Mario 3D World into its own game and brought a whole new world and a whole ton of new levels to it. I really did like that. Now, New Super Mario Bros. U, just another new Super Mario Bros. Game. Nothing really common about that. Yoshi's Woolly World, it has the yarn aesthetic, and I really do like it. It's the gameplay itself, though, I didn't really enjoy. There's a couple of levels that just grinded my gears, man. There's just a couple of levels that were just horrendous, and I didn't get to complete the game. I didn't really go through the whole game. I didn't even think I got halfway through the game. It's just like a couple of levels just really were just terrible, and that really did just call me off. It's not fantastic. It's definitely not terrible, but I didn't really like it all that much. But the art aesthetic is the best thing about the game, and it really did nail that part. Next, Super Mario Maker, probably one of the more groundbreaking games of the Wii U era. Just the ability to make Mario levels was so interesting and so brilliant that it was one of my favorite games of the Wii U. It was just a blast. I played a whole ton of it, and it was just a fantastic game throughout all of it. And of course, you can go to other people's levels, you can make your own. It's just a fantastic experience and great community there. And we have two left. Next is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Probably my favorite game on the Wii U. Probably the best platformer that I've ever played. The music is fantastic. The visuals are fantastic. Basically, everything about the game is fantastic, and I really do love it. But last but not least, we have Super Mario Bros. For Wii U. Fantastic fighting game, probably one of my favorite. I tried to get competitive, I tried to, but it really wasn't that successful. I'm not great at it. I'm not terrible at either, but I'm not great at all. But fantastic game. It has a few flaws. Of course, not Smash Run, but the board game is just terrible. There's a couple of bad things about it, but overall, the game was very, very solid. But now we're going to go to my PS4 library, starting with Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, I have yet to fully complete it, but I'm currently playing through it now. I didn't buy it in March because, of course, Zelda was coming out, and I had a lot of occupations then because I spent tons of hours on Zelda. But now I bought it for Christmas, and now I'm playing it through, so I'm basically completed it, but I'm almost there. Fantastic game, though. A brilliant game. Of course, like Zelda and Horizon Zero Dawn kind of contradict each other in the way that those two games fix each other's problems. Like Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't have too much stuff to do in the world, while Zelda is jam-packed, and there's lots of things that really work for one that could be very useful in the other. It's kind of similar games, but they're really weird in structure where they're not really similar, though. Next, I'm going to group these two together, though. We got Uncharted 4 and the Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection. Fantastic games. I'm currently halfway through Uncharted 3. I'm trying to go for the complete, not really trilogy, but series all at once. And I'm almost done with it. So we're getting there, but fantastic games. I do like the wall mechanic. It was very, very innovative for its time, and very, very solid games. Next, we have Yooka-Laylee. Not a terribly bad disappointment, but it was a disappointment. I didn't really like it all that much. Alright, continuing with this, NBA 2K, it wasn't that great. We have Madden 17, it wasn't that great. Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare 2, I love the first one. The second one, it was okay. MLB The Show 16, good game. Very good game. Skyrim, so, it didn't have the complete, mods as you'd want, with Sony being strict and all that. But it was still a fantastic game, a fantastic vanilla experience. It came with the DLC, really nothing to complain about there. And last but not least, well, I guess it would be least, NHL 16. Not that great. It was my first NHL game. I have 17 and 18 downloaded digitally, so yeah, take it as you will. It's not that great. And now, finally, the last system that we'll go through, the Nintendo Switch. Now, first, Mario Odyssey, I don't really need to say too much about it. Fantastic game. Brilliant game. I'd say it's worse than, well, it's not worse than Breath of the Wild. I like Breath of the Wild more, but that's, of course, my opinion. A lot of people like it better than Breath of the Wild. It is whatever. Next, Fire Emblem Warriors. Didn't play it all that much. Pretty disappointing. It didn't really hook me quite as Hyrule Warriors. It wasn't fresh enough for me, I guess. It was kind of just a copy of Hyrule Warriors. It wasn't really bringing too much new to the table. Splatoon 2, I didn't play it that much. Once again, it's the same thing kind of Fire Emblem Warriors. It didn't really bring that much new to me that I could play for hours on end, that I wanted to play. Splatoon 1 was fantastic and really fresh, and Splatoon 2 really wasn't. So, it just didn't really hook me quite like Splatoon 2. Next up, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I played this quite a lot. The battle mode was very, very fun. And of course, I always play Mario Kart. It's fantastic, and I keep playing it every single time because I'm a sucker for Mario Kart, really. But Mario Kart 8 is fantastic, and it's a great game also. Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Now, this was an interesting game because I heard a lot about it, and I heard it was coming to the Switch, and it had like the special physical copy stuff, and I was like, hey, might as well get it. And it was very, very good. It was very, very good for the amount of times that I played it. I think I got like 60 hours out of it. It was a pretty good deal for them, and it was a pretty good game also. It's probably my favorite dungeon crawler. It's fantastic. It has generated worlds. It's whatever, but it's a really good game there. And last but not least, Breath of the Wild. Now, it's not my favorite Zelda game, but it's fantastic. The open world is probably the best open world in gaming history. So much to do, so much to see, and it's just a fantastic experience from start to end. The first playthrough that you'll do is probably one of the more magical experiences you'll have as a gamer. It's fantastic because you're exploring this whole gigantic world, and it's just every moment of it is very, very joyful, you're just exploring, and it's fantastic. And the gameplay is nice. The physics engine is unbelievably great. The graphics are good enough, and just everything about it was fantastic. And it was my game of the year. It was a lot of other people's games of the year, and very understandably so, it's basically everybody's game of the year. But that's going to be it, guys. Guys, enjoy it. Make sure, guys enjoy this kind of one-off episode. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.